Well, I've been doing a lot of research on transformation leadership, which includes charisma. And if you look at the research stream of the last several decades in leadership area, charisma and transformation leadership have been two most popular topics. But the problem with the particularly charismatic leadership is if you use a lot of charisma, the level of dependency from your followers on you is becoming dangerously high. So you tend to control a lot of things in your organization, and that actually lead to some destructive outcomes. So a lot of people have witnessed some corporate scandals and realized that charisma may not be the most ideal or optimal way of leading people. Then with the introduction of information technology, social network, etc., a lot of people realize that acting and trying to pretend someone other than who you are may not be working anymore because your audience have the means to connect themselves and compare the note and try to identify who you really are. So if you can disguise who you are and not being able to pretend someone other than who you are, then the best approach is to be yourself. So authentic leadership came on board, and it's been one of the most heavily researched topic in leadership. And I think authentic leadership, is kind of natural for people to exhibit their own behavior, because after acting on your leadership for a while, try to maintain more positive image in front of people, you get really tired of your impression management. So it will be quite natural for people to be authentic and try to deal with what you have, and that actually resonates a lot more with your followers. One of the research findings that I think is quite interesting is when followers perceive their leader being authentic leader, they have a high degrees of motivation to fill in something that their beloved leader doesn't have. If you project yourself to be a perfect leader, then followers' level of motivation actually are becoming weaker and lower. But if you try to be yourself and use it as part of your basic leadership process, people try to approach you and try to identify what are the things that I can do for you, because since you are being authentic to us, I'm now willing to fill you in. So authentic leadership can actually increase the level of attachment from your followers. Well, the best example that I oftentimes use, the founder and chairman and CEO of Virgin Group, the guy Richard Branson. He didn't try to be the perfect leader. While retaining his core competencies, he is not shy of sharing his weakness and weak point. And that actually made Richard Branson a more popular leader, because you're looking at a guy who is really successful, but he have some of the weaknesses that I can identify myself with. So that eliminates certain kind of psychological barrier, and I'm now much better motivated to help this guy to make him even more successful and richer. So a lot of leaders in Korean companies change their strategies and direction, and instead of acting out their leadership, they try to be more authentic, and that become very popular among Korean followers. For people who try to be a more authentic leader, one of the best way for you to get started is to work on your value system and try to really establish your basic and fundamental guidelines in terms of how you interact with your followers. I always advise executives to come up with a very specific set of values and begin sharing those guidelines with your followers. I even ask many executives to write down their value system, value statement, and print multiple copies and put one copy in your office and distribute and share the remaining copies with your followers. and ask them to correct the leader if they are not practicing and implementing those value systems. And over time, at the beginning, it may not be an easy thing to do, but I think leadership is part of your habit. The more practice that you do and more feedback you get from your followers, it becomes a very natural part of your leadership habit and behaviors. I think they have to have some kind of courage to begin developing their values early on. A lot of young professionals that I have come across, they have a tendency to think about their value system, their vision later on because they are so low at the bottom of their hierarchy. So they tend to wait until they become a middle-level manager or even executive level. Then they would begin thinking about their value system. But I think values are fundamentally important at any level you are. So for young aspiring professionals, they need to begin thinking about their value system and leadership right from the beginning of their career.
Okay, thank you.
Well, it's important to have a financial success in your life, but if you try to write down one sentence that you want to be remembered, what that one sentence might be. If you keep thinking about this one sentence test, then your life will be far more successful as a leader.